What's up, guys? Welcome back to the e-bike builder channel. In this video we're going to upgrade my e-bike. So this is the Tongsheng TSDZ8 mid-drive motor, 750 watt mid-drive motor that I put on the Schwinn Axum Comp X. And so we've got a new battery for this thing from POWALLON, from Lee at POWALLON sent this thing over. So thank you, Lee from POWALLON. Thank you very much, Lee from POWALLON. I appreciate your generosity, my friend. So let me tell you guys how this happened. So I recently built this bike and I've just been using backpack batteries on it so far. I haven't built like a dedicated battery for this bike yet, but that's what we've got here from POWALLON. And so what happened was I bought this kit from POWALLON and I bought it with my own money, and then I was using my own batteries with it. And those are 52 volt batteries, are the voltage of the batteries that I was using. But I was having like some error codes and some funny business with the Tongsheng TSDZ8 motor kit. Like I kept getting a few error codes on the screen, and so Lee from POWALLON, so POWALLON kind of like put these motor kits together, right? So that is ultimately who I got this motor kit from. So Lee from POWALLON, he contacted me, and so we've talked previously in the emails, and so he sent this over and he said that he would sponsor this 48 volt 20 amp hour battery for my bike because we wanted to see because they did all of their testing on the Tongsheng TSDZ8 with the 48 volt batteries. So Lee sent me this battery and he said, try this 48 volts 20 amp hour battery, and we're gonna try this out and see if 48 volts solves those problems with the TSDZ8 kit that I got. So let's pop this battery open and let's unbox it. So I am pleased to see that the battery comes with like the UN hazardous materials. You know, it's like labeled like a battery should be, so that's good, because I have bought lots of e-bike batteries from Unit Pack Power. I had like 4 or 5 Unit Pack Power e-bike batteries, and none of those came with the hazardous material label on there. So it's good to see that POWALLON is shipping these e-bike batteries responsibly and marking them properly during shipping, because I bought 4 or 5 batteries from Amazon where they were not labeled from Unit Pack Power, which is a different sketchy company that I don't recommend. But let's open up this 48 volt 20 amp hour battery from POWALLON. And so this battery is supposed to have like Samsung, I think they're like 50S or like 50E cells or something. They're like the Samsung like 5,000 milliamp hour cells. So what do we have in here? So here's the frame battery manual, just kind of like a general purpose manual here for their various e-bike batteries. So then what do we got here? So there's the battery. So let's take all this other stuff out of the box first. So it seems like right here there's like some, are those like carabiner clips or something? So it looks like there's like some carabiners, and there's an Anderson, it looks like an Anderson to XT60. So they give us this lead right here that converts the Anderson, so you could plug this into the battery, and then you would solder something else. Well, you wouldn't plug that in first, right? You would solder something else onto here, like an XT. This is probably what this was intended to do right here. I'll show you. Was to solder this guy on here properly. That's beyond the scope of this video, but we can just, they do provide some wires here that you could terminate into an XT60 if that is what your system uses. Okay, so I'll show you how we terminate the wires in a moment. once we get started there. And then so it seems like we've got the charger that's in a box inside of this box. Let's see here. So you've got a charger in here, and I think it said it was like a 3 amp 54.6 volts, so it's a 48 volt charger and it's 3 amps, so it's XLR 3 pin, and it says pin 1 is positive and pin 2 is negative. So I like how they kind of like label this thing with how it's wired. Let's see here. So this is just a basic lithium ion battery charger. Made in China, DZLS4830-01. So it's 48 volts battery. It's 20 amp hours. It can do 30 amps discharge. It comes with this little charger. It's got the XLR 3-pin connector, and then it's got our wall outlet plug. So there's the charger. So now, for the final goodness, and what we've all been waiting for, it's the battery. And so this thing, I found this battery is surprisingly light. Like this thing, I think it's like 11 or 12 pounds. Like this, and it's very small too. So that is pretty interesting. So I'm curious, what does the battery ship at? What kind of a state of charge does the battery ship at? Let's check it with a multimeter. And it ships at 49.49 volts. Man, so I better start charging this thing because I want to use it today. But look at this. So it's got a nice case. It says POWALLON. It's got kind of like a hard shell on the outside of the case. And then it just seems like it zips open. So I wonder what it looks like inside. The curiosity is really... Okay, so it's just like your typical like blue... So it's just a blue, so it says 48 volts, 20 amp hours, 960 watt hours. So this triangle case, it doesn't totally flip open, it just kind of like comes open at like a 45-degree angle. There's a little piece of foam up here in the front, filling that in. If you had a 52 volt battery, I bet there'd probably be a couple stuffed in there. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna leave this thing all shrink wrapped and taped up and stuff, and as long as we can get something close to 20 amp hours out of it, I'll just kind of assume that it's Samsung cells. I'll probably open it up eventually and actually look at the cells, but right now I want to maintain the waterproofing of this. So let's mount this thing on the bike and see how it looks. So we can just come in here. We've got some Velcro straps. We got 2 Velcro straps up top, 2 Velcro straps at the bottom, and then there's 1 Velcro strap on the back. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, so right now I have like a backpack battery wire that I had tethered right here. So let's see here. I do kind of want to still be able to use a backpack battery in a time of need. But I also, so let's disconnect that wire for now. So my motor, right now it's got the XT, it's got a XT60 on the motor. So let's just get this thing on the bike here. That's gonna be the first step. So let's get this thing, let's get the Velcro. Let's see how this thing fits in here. Let's get all the straps unstrapped here. We gotta Okay, and then it's all zipped up. All right. So then we'll put this thing on here and so I would recommend putting all of the Velcro straps on, even if it's kind of like, I've seen some people, they don't put these bottom straps on and like tether this thing down to the bottom. But what happens if you don't put the bottom straps on is the whole thing can kind of like move around. See, I don't really like, let's see here. Let's try that again. Chargers turn on. There we go. It's charging. All right, so I don't know. I'm not sure. What are you supposed to do with the excess here? On the other triangle batteries I had, you could usually just like, the straps went through the case instead of like sewing to the outside of the case. So it'll be interesting to see how this case holds together, because we're really gonna be bouncing around out on the trails and you have to cinch these things down pretty tight, because like if you just do it loosely, like if you don't want this thing stretching, like if you don't want the fabric of this case stretching and you just do it loosely, like then it can move around and that's not good, right? So it's like you want to cinch it down quite a lot, but then it kind of stretches out the case a little bit, which is a little bit concerning. But I don't know. All right guys, so I'm just kind of gonna, they sent this little cable width, and the purpose of this is this side plugs into the battery. So these are Anderson connectors, and then this other side is unterminated. And you don't want to plug this thing into the battery before you've terminated these wires, because this is just like bare conductors right here. So if you plugged this into the battery and then you touched between here, you'd be shorting out the battery, and you'd probably like blow your finger off or something. So not good. All right, so we want to make sure that if we're changing if we're going to use this wire to this adapter that they provide, don't plug it into the battery until you're done working, like done soldering it and verified that everything is correct. Okay, so I would suggest, if you're just like, I think if you bought this motor with this battery, it would just plug together and you wouldn't have to do this at all, right? But because I have changed the connector on my motor to a XT60 and I rewired it a little bit so that I could plug it into my backpack batteries. So I've got kind of like a little bit extra wire coming out of my motor right here that I used to plug in my backpack battery. And all my batteries are XT90s. So they're like these bigger ones. And these can do a lot of amp. These can do like 90 amps. We only need like 20 something amps for this motor. So this is just like really overkill. But I'm going to use XT90s and I'm going to solder it onto here, because all of my batteries are XT90s. Or all of my, actually I'm going to need a female, I think, here. We'll give it an anti-spark. So I'm going to get a female XT90, right? That's the side with the holes for the battery. That's what we want there. So then we're just gonna we're gonna solder on this anti-spark to the end of these wires, making sure that we've got the correct polarity, right? So we gotta do negative over on this side, and then positive is over on this side. So I'm gonna solder all this up, and then we'll be able to connect the battery to the motor. All right, so we're gonna pre-tin the connector. Get some solder going onto this thing. So here's what that looks like after I'm done soldering it. I've got the positive going to the positive side and the negative is going to the negative side. So what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. We're just out at Willow River State Park trails, mountain biking trails. I've got the Schwinn Axum Comp X. is the bike that I'm riding today. It's a hardtail. We've got the Tongsheng TSDZ8 mid-drive motor, 750 watt mid-drive motor. We've got the POWALLON 48 volt 20 amp hour triangle battery right here. So that is what we're doing today, guys, is we're testing out this triangle battery. Lee from POWALLON sent this over for me to test the Tongsheng with. So we're gonna give it a go. We're gonna test it out here. Let's get a move on. Let's go. It's a pretty hot day out. So when I originally got the Tongsheng, I was using a 52 volt battery. And I was having some problems with the throttle, like when I'm giving it full throttle riding on the street. I think there's a little bit of a misconfiguration or something that was going on with my 52 volt battery, because I think Lee from POWALLON was right. Lee said that they did all of their testing for the Tongsheng on 48 volt batteries, and since I've been using this 48 volt battery, I haven't had that problem. So I think Lee was right, and the system is just kind of like programmed and optimized for 48 volts. So that's good to know. Thank you very much, Lee at POWALLON, for sending this battery over for me to test. Very generous of you, my friend. I appreciate that greatly. I promise I will put it to good use testing these systems. So we're out at Willow River. It's been raining for a number of days now. So we're just getting back out here. And the Tongsheng is feeling very nice on 48 volts. The torque sensor feels nice, the pedal assist with torque sensing is one of the main advantages of this motor. And the torque is incredible. The torque of the mid-drive motor, very good. Whew, man. I made it up. That corner is really tricky with my hub motor because it doesn't have enough torque. And I have to pedal really hard, and then there's sand. And I usually slip out in the sand with the mid-drive. The mid-drive torque, your tires just like stick to the ground, and you can just climb the hill like a mountain goat. It feels good to get back out here. Whenever I don't upload a video for a few days, people start sending me wellness check emails to see if I'm still alive. Like my good friend Steve Cummings. Steve Cumming, not plural, just one of them. Steve sent me an email to see if I was still alive. I always appreciate that. Alright, let's go up the southern traverse. This is a two-way trail, and this is kind of the uphill way, so we'll have to be careful. Because this is a fun trail that people like to go down, mostly. And they will come flying down it. I don't know that I've ever gone down the southern traverse. I gotta do that sometime because I bet that's a lot of fun. But likewise, it's a two-way trail, so you kind of have to restrain yourself even when you're going down it, or at least be ready for people coming up it. This TSDZ8 is a noisy boy. It's a noisy little guy. So thanks to Lee at POWALLON, we finally got a triangle battery for this bike instead of a big heavy backpack battery. And I still have a small backpack battery in my backpack just in case I run out. But 20 amp hours is a pretty good amount. I'm hoping not to get stung by any bees right here this time, because yesterday I had a bumblebee fly into my ear and it stung me inside of my ear, and it's swollen up, and my left ear is working to about 75%, and it's very red and itchy. So don't get stung in the ear, inside of the ear. I literally had a bumblebee fly into my ear, inside of it, and I could see that fuzzy little bastard like get stuck in my ear when I was riding my bike. Oh, and then when he finally did manage to get out of my ear, he stung me on the way out. So this is the part where it wouldn't be very fun to climb up it, but when you've got a mid-drive, it is. Alright, we're going to continue this way on the north traverse. I forgot my water bottle, so I'm just kind of trying to keep a relaxed pace here and not get too tuckered out because it is very hot and humid. Thankfully, I did drink a lot before I left. And when I do that, I don't usually get thirsty until I'm basically done. So we should be good. We're almost to the Rabbit Run, a fun little trail up here. It's kind of when things get started, is the Rabbit Run. It's when the fun begins. Ooh, come on. I hate those sandy corners of these tires, it's scary. Ooh. I did get my chainring adapter in the mail finally, but it's going to be an ordeal setting that thing up. Because the chain line is going to change and I'll have to set my derailleur back up again and fix the indexing of the gears. I think with the chainring adapter, my chain line is going to be worse. So I might have to come up with some creative solutions to get my, I might have to like rearrange my cassette cogs or something and lose a gear. Watch out, little bunny. Watch out, little bunny. I'm coming down the trail, buddy. All right, here we go. Let's keep it over here on the Rabbit Run. So what have you guys been up to on your e-bikes lately? Let me know in the comments. Tell me all about your e-bike. Which one are you riding? I've been riding this one lately. I still ride my hub motor a little bit, the G900. Mostly into town and stuff on errands. It's hard to beat the hub motor on the streets, the G900. 750 watt rear hub motor. 80 newton meters of torque. Plenty to get around, or maybe it's 85 or something. It's pretty good. .85 newton meters of torque with the hub motor is more than enough for pretty much everything, except for when you're just like really climbing. I can tell the difference between the 85 newton meters of the hub motor, and I think they say this thing is 140. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's what they say. But this thing does feel basically a lot torqueier than the hub motor when you're climbing. The hub motor just kind of bogs out when you're going really slow, but the mid-drive, you can put it into a low gear and it's still cranking. The main limitation of mid-drives is basically whether or not you can hold on to it or not. turn the pedal assist down out to 4. Whenever I have it on 5 out here, it kind of feels like it's just slightly more than necessary. 3 or 4 feels pretty good for when I'm pedaling along with it. When I have it on 5, it's kind of hard to maintain. When I have it on pedal assist 5, it's kind of hard to just be pedaling at a steady pace and maintain that speed. Like the motor's always kind of like going faster and faster. Five just feels like a little bit much, and I end up like hitting the brakes too much. So I might as well turn it down to 4. I'm not sure how this motor is programmed. I still need to get like the meter on it and see what it's doing. I think it's just like 20 something amps. Alright, here we go. Here's the fun part. The Hawkeye. I didn't get out here until it's a little bit late today. Usually get out here a lot earlier. This trail, the Hawkeye, it's got some jumps and some drops and stuff. Here we go, drops ahead. Oh, let's get this thing. Oh, let's get the dropper down. Dropper down, okay. Oh. What was that? What was that? Oh, Jesus. Well, we scratched the frame up again doing that. Oh. Alright, well, I see what that is. We gotta keep going though, because it gets... Oh my god, we are in the wrong gear, bud. Okay. My saddle's still down, a little bit hard to pedal. There we go. Alright, so when we hit drops, that might happen. I gotta fix that. Let's see here. Oh man. Well, I'm gonna keep going. It gets way too hot if I stop. It's hard to stop. It's just like super humid. Okay, this looks like potentially a spot where we can stop and fix this. So we've gone, okay, we should have that sorted out. Oh, starting her out, pedal assist 3. Oh, watch out, bumblebee. Oh man, those bumblebees lately. That was the thing of nightmares, when you get a bumblebee inside of your ear, buzzing around in there. It was like he was stuck in my ear, and he was buzzing his little wings, but he like flew straight into my ear head first. So it's like his wings weren't doing much, except for buzzing inside of my ear. And it was very scary, and then when he did finally manage to get out, he stung me. Oh! But it could have been worse. It could have been like a crazy wasp or hornet or something. In the grand scheme of things, I think it was a pretty tame sting. So I'm thinking about either getting a watt meter on this thing or else maybe like a cycle analyst so I can see what, so I can see how this thing is programmed, how many amps it's doing. Might be kind of interesting. I will say, this motor feels pretty good for riding around on the trails, and it's tolerable on the streets. Now that those error messages went away. Still kind of getting used to pedaling. I think a lot of e-bikers are more throttlers, but it's kind of frowned upon out here. Here's that tricky corner that I always forget about. So torque sensors feel pretty good, but it definitely feels pretty good. It makes pedaling feel a lot better, especially out here. Like when I pedal hard, the motor kind of like goes harder. feels pretty good. There is a slight delay. I guess the Tongsheng TSDZ8 has a slight delay with the torque sensor compared to like fancy e-bikes, like expensive ones, more European Trek boy kind of e-bikes. But I would say for the price of the Tongsheng TSDZ8, I got my Tongsheng TSDZ8 for like $315 because there was an AliExpress coupon for like $30 or $40 off, I think. So if you wait till one of those AliExpress deals, this thing can be like $315, $350 or something. Like, you can get it pretty cheap. I mean, basically like the price of a BBS02, or even cheaper slightly. And the BBS02 doesn't have a torque sensor. The BBS02 also doesn't have a temperature sensor, or at least I'm not sure if it uses it. Or maybe Bafang implemented the temperature sensor at some point, but for a long time there wasn't one. For a long time it was like Bafang had put the temperature sensor in the motor and it was there, but it was like the controller wasn't actually using the temperature to throttle back power or anything. And Bafang hub motors don't come with temperature sensors either. Most of them. Even pedal assist 3 feels pretty good out here. I don't even think you need, like, this thing, it works really good on the trail, because I think when you're in pedal assist 3 and you pedal hard, like, it still gives you a lot of power. But yeah, this thing, it works a lot better on the trail, and it kind of gets hot when you're riding it on the street in a high gear, making it go as fast as possible. Kind of gets a little bit hot. The gap between my two highest gears on this cassette is, I think it goes from like 38 to 42 or something. And then my tallest gear, the highest gear, you can get going 30 something miles an hour on flat. Or potentially, like if you're going down a hill, these mid drives can get going basically like the unloaded speed. So on this, I've got it going like 40 miles an hour down a big hill or something. But this thing definitely can't do 40 miles an hour on flat unless you've got like some carbon fiber, like lightweight bike going with it. Somebody was telling me that this thing can go 41 miles an hour because they watched the Dude Stuff video on this motor. And Dude Stuff, he doesn't even really like ride the bikes other than just in his video where he's trying to sell a motor kit or something. So I can understand why you might. And then e-bike reviewers, they always show you the top speeds when they're going down like a giant hill. So I can see why somebody might get the impression. But on flat, I would say probably like, I don't know, like 35 is like full charge, like really going, pedaling hard. This Marzocchi bomber fork feels awesome. The Z2 rail fork, Marzocchi bomber. Oh, a little wet right there, wow. Oh! Just trying to jump things that weren't jumps. So the GoPro's been going a lot longer lately now that the temperature's starting to cool down a little bit. It's a nice change. For a while this summer, I just kind of gave up on the GoPro because it would only go for like 15 minutes. So this battery, it's still at 48 volts. It's holding nominal voltage. It's supposed to be Samsung cells. I think it probably is. This is a pretty, for the price, this is a pretty good battery because it's supposed to have Samsung cells in it. I haven't checked yet, but from the way it's behaving, it does kind of seem like it's probably some pretty good Samsung cells. And I'm feeling pretty confident that, looking at the voltage, that we should be able to get the 20 amp hours worth. I think I got a helmet that's not strapped or something. I hope it's not. Oh man. I hope that wasn't in the way of the camera, bubs. Sorry. Unstrapped helmet. Ugh. I'm crossing my fingers that my helmet strap wasn't in the way the entire time. Oh god. Oh, got a lot of grass. We went through here and cut all the, it's like we cut all the bee flowers out here. Thank God. It's getting dangerous. All the flowers and the bees the last few times. I hate to see the flowers chopped down, but I also have got stung every day for like the past week or something. Like I've just been getting stung by a bee like every day. This TSDZ8, it does make kind of like a whistling noise, that's for sure. Reminds me of the BBS HD, kind of that IPM rotor noise. I still remember how my BBS HD sounded on 72 volts with the phase runner. It sounded, when it was brand new, it just sounded like a spaceship. It was awesome. Kind of miss that. But slowly but surely, my expensive $400 phase runner controllers are all having some kind of a problem. usually the wires get messed up on something, and then it's potted, and you can't really like just go in there and resolder it. So I've got a number of phase runners that I could probably send back to Grand Tech and get repaired, but I've already done that before, and I don't know that I'm going to use them really, because the Flipski 75100 Pro V2 controller is what I've been using lately. On this thing, the TSDZ8, you probably just want to use the stock controller that's inside the motor, because it's all set up for you. It's got the torque sensor set up. It's potted and should be waterproof-ish. Hey there. It's kind of getting dark out here. What time is it? Oh, that's scared. Alright, we are gonna go this way. It's pretty hot out. I forgot my water bottle. Oh. I don't know how far we're gonna be able to go today, but I wanted to test this battery out just to see if we would get any error codes, so I could report back to Lee from POWALLON and let him know. And I do think that I'm gonna be able to let Lee know that the 48-volt battery solved my problems. So if you bought the Tongsheng TSDZ8 kit from POWALLON and you're on 52 volts and you're getting air too, then it's probably because of the 52 volt battery. And I would give it a shot with a 48 volt battery. I'm working on getting a programming kit. So that I can reconfigure the motor and put open source firmware on it and stuff. But the programming kit is coming from China, and it's going to take a little bit. I do have some chain rings coming, one from Lee from POWALLON, 42 teeth chain ring with an integrated chain guard. And then I have the chainring adapter. That I think I'm going to try using a 38 tooth. 38 tooth chainring with. Gotta get some different tires on this still. I think if I get the programming kit, I actually think even if you could just reconfigure the stock firmware slightly, like change some of the parameters of it, it would be usable. I think Tongsheng did all right for the most part, but it'd be nice to just slightly change things just a little bit. Because I'd like to set up my pedal assist 5 so that I can just throttle down the street as fast as possible without getting crazy hot. And I think the tuning of this controller, it's pretty aggressive in pedal assist 5, which I guess it's nice because you have the option of using more power if you want to. But I believe that if you buy an e-bike kit and then you put it on pedal assist 5 max power and you just go throttling down the street, like it should function properly and not give you error codes, and it shouldn't be like, I mean, unless it's some like performance machine, it shouldn't really be like overheating, unless you're doing like a lot of long extended riding on like a really hot day or something. So it seems like we're down to like 46 volts, so it's like on a 48 volt battery, when you start going below 48 volts, that's kind of like when you're going below halfway, when you go below that nominal voltage. My GoPro's still going. I can't believe that. That's crazy. Did all this on one GoPro. So when I ride this thing around on pedal assist 3 on the trails, it doesn't really get hot at all. It's just when you ride on full power on the streets. Oh man, I think that's all she wrote for today. It is pretty hot out. Wow. Hello. Whew, man. Got a full lot tonight, wow. Alright, well that was it. That's all I can do. Let's take the Tongsheng down the road. Wonder how hot it is. It doesn't even feel warm. When you have pedal assist 3 going, like it doesn't even heat up on 3. It seems like. Some people are telling me you don't really need a shift sensor, but I still think it doesn't hurt. Because when your derailleur shift cable is moving, the motor probably shouldn't be going, regardless of whether you're also using the brakes or whatever it might be. Your 46 volts are still going. We've gone 16.5 miles at 46 volts, and we've got a pedestrian ahead. I don't think this thing does 40 miles an hour at all on flat. You need a big hill. I can show you 40 miles an hour in a minute, Bubs, but we're not doing it on flat, that's for sure. Don't let dude stuff mislead you. This is a 30 mile an hour motor, basically. Is pushing it, I would say. You might be able to go faster than 30 miles an hour, but like when the battery starts going lower, probably not. And there is a little delay with the throttle. I would say it takes like man, like 3 to 5 seconds from when the, oh, we better shift. We better pedal. Probably like 3 to 5 seconds from when you hit the throttle to when it actually starts going. Oh, I just about got stung by another bee. Friendly guy back there. Let's go down here. I might go back through the trails. Oh. Back through the rabbit run. It's on the way back. Watch out, rabbit. There was a rabbit on the rabbit run. Everybody looks very hot and sweaty on this hot, humid day. Oh. So I've only got about 3 scratches on this bike now. I'm terrible at not scratching my bikes. Oh. Guess we're back on pedals 5. I don't need that. Whoa! I need some different tires for this kind of stuff. Oh! Oh man, scary business. You really got to be careful with the mid drive when you're going around corners where there's sand, because the torque is just, if you give it too much in the sand when you're leaning and turning, it can just slip out on you, bud. So it seems like this motor is quite efficient. We're still at like 47 volts here. On the 20 amp hour battery. It'll be interesting to see how far I can get with this thing. I hope I can get through the whole thing and then get all the way back. And then I don't even need my other battery. That would be nice. One thing I do wish is that I could make the motor engage slightly faster when I start pedaling. it might make the bike a little bit more dangerous and prone to accidental acceleration, but sometimes when you're going downhill, you just want to put in like 1 or 2 pedal strokes. Oh, this way. Sometimes when I'm going downhill, I want to do like 1 or 2 pedal strokes quick, but then I do them, but like the motor doesn't kick in right away. So I'm looking forward to customizing this thing. I might try some studded tires this winter. And maybe get like some heated gear or something. Try and ride around a little bit more in the winter. Winter is usually a buzzkill around here. I need to pick up some winter hobbies. I've never been a big fan of those. Oh, this is getting pretty overgrown on the Bucksnort Trail. I also have that dual motor traction control dual vest Hawkeye Cheetah. Oh, that's probably going to be the bike of choice this winter for in the snow. Oh, there's going to be a big jump right there. Nice. But yeah, we got the dual motor Cheetah. And that bike is fun in the winter. And I barely got to ride it last winter. So next winter, this winter, is when we're really going to take the dual motor Cheetah out there and do. Man, my goggles were so dirty. Wow. I just put my goggles up because they fogged up from the humidity. Oh, I can see so much better without the goggles on. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? It's going blind there. We're putting this thing on Pelosis 5. We're getting out of here. Oh. One thing about this, the one thing about this microshift Acolyte is it seems like it shifts a little bit slow. I don't know. But, ooh, man. It could be worse. It could be a gear Falcon. So I think I want to go find some new trails this year before time runs out. I want to tour some of the trails in the area. Probably put my bike in the car and then drive over into Minnesota a little bit, go to some of those trails. I guess in St. Paul. St. Paul is not really a place that I enjoy visiting, but if there's like some kind of mountain biking trail on the St. Paul, it looks pretty cool. Battle Creek. Kinda wanna check it out. Might have to bring a weapon. Self-defense. Okay, we're going this way. Alright, so it says we're at 47 volts. Looks like we're down to 2 battery bars. I don't even know how many battery bars we have total. 5 maybe. Well, that was a good ride. And with the 48 volt 20 amp hour triangle battery from POWALLON, I didn't even get one error code and everything works very nicely. I wonder why it was giving the error code too on 52 volts. What's up, puppy? I wonder why it's giving error 2 on 52 volts, because when you look up error 2 in the error codes that they gave me, error 2 is like motor short circuit or something, so I don't know. I don't know if the error 2 is really like correct. Whoa, what are all these bugs? What the hell? Fucking bugs everywhere. That's weird. That is a dead skunk that smells terrible. Oh my goodness. We're at 45 volts. When I'm putting it into high gear, 44 volts. So the battery's getting lower. I don't know. We'll have to see how far we get. It's hard to gauge it with this motor because it is pretty efficient compared to what I'm used to, and it does kind of encourage pedaling. Here's where we can make it go 40 miles an hour probably. Anytime you're going down a hill, you can get going a lot faster than when you're on flat. But yeah, it seems like the 48 volt battery solved my problems. I don't see any error codes this time. Maybe that was the problem. I don't know. It says 44 volts. Under load here. I should probably pedal. We're getting lower. It's really kind of bogging right now in that 8th gear. Switch her out. I think it's probably throttling me because it's overheating again. There's some car behind me that's like going slow like a retard that's scared to go past me, and I'm literally going 18 miles an hour. You gonna go or what? Come on. Come on, go, go. Come on, go, 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 go. Come on. Let's go. 5 volts. It'll be interesting to see how far we get. I don't think 48 volt batteries, I think you can drain them down to like 39 or 40 or something. But it's gonna start dropping off real quick here. That's my guess. It's overheating, you're kind of lucky to like be going 20 to 25. With this thing. And then people are usually getting mad at you. The drivers, they will be mad and angry because you're going so slow. It's a little bit frustrating riding this thing on the road. I like going a little bit faster, but for a trail bike, it works pretty good. What's this guy doing? Please don't run me over. What a drivers, they'll just run you down. They don't even like watch out. Look at that guy, he's like driving in the bike lane up there. Oh man. There's a lot of people and they probably shouldn't be allowed to have a driver's license. It's actually kind of amazing that they never got it in the first place. So we're cruising along on the 48-volt battery from POWALLON. The Tongsheng is working nicely. And I would like to get a coffee, an iced coffee, and a Big Mac. Hello, sorry. Let's see, can we take the detour, the shortcut? So what have we gone here? 25 miles? Still gone. Man, we're going kind of slow to be on this street. Holy fuck. The sidewalks are way too bumpy though. I don't like going on sidewalks. Alright guys, we're still going with the range test. Let's see how far we've gone with the POWALLON. 48 volt, 20 amp hour. Oh, triangle battery. God damn it. 4 volts. And we've gone 26.5 miles with the Tongsheng. It's time to go back at 7 p.m. Better turn off my phone screen or it's just gonna go dead here. Was that Cruella de Vil back there? I don't know. Some crazy lady. She had an evil aura about her. We're really bogging here. 42 volts. Oh. Good puppy. Oh, we're going now. We're pedaling along now. Now we're throttling. Man, it's nice having a throttle that works. I'm very thankful that Lee at POWALLON sent me this battery. What are we at here? 42 volts, we're still going. I wonder if we'll be able to get back. I wonder what voltage it cuts out at. .41 volts, battery's blinking. We better turn it down. When I turn it down to Pelisis 3, we're at 42 volts. Motor is giving me, it's doing a good job of giving me a workout here. Holy buckets. There's some guy crawling around in the weeds back there, looking at me talk to myself. I was looking at him like, why are you crawling around in the weeds, buddy? Because I could use a backpack battery to ride there, and that would save me quite a bit. And then I could disconnect the backpack battery, so I wouldn't have that dang wire all over the place getting in my way when I'm mountain biking. And that way, I would probably have to just change the battery when I get to the trail. And then I wouldn't have to worry about changing it again. Even though it does seem like we were able to go, I did this whole ride on 20 amp hours. We're still gone. It's pretty impressive. I went 28.7 miles, and a lot of it, well, some of it was on the trails, so not a whole lot of miles, but on a trail you can use a lot of power, but not necessarily like get as much distance. I think we made it. 41 volts. We're still going 42. It feels like it's getting a little bit, I don't know if it's overheating yet. Might be overheating, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. Feels like it's kind of bogging a little bit at this point. We are on Pelisis 3, that could have something to do with it. right, thanks for watching, guys. We made it the whole way, 30 miles. Thanks, Lee at POWALLON, you're the man. Like and subscribe, see you Belgians next time.